It is some 4 minutes past the hour 6. It is now time for the campaign trail. And today on the campaign trail, we sit with a man a lot of people identify as a legal practitioner, but things have turned in his fortunes and he's pursuing politics now. I'm talking about lawyer Wayoe Ghanamannti, the vice presidential candidate of the CPP. Thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you very
Welcome
much.
to the campaign trail.
Thank you very much and good evening.
Absolutely. Now, first of all, I talked about the fact that you practice law. So let me take your thoughts on the happenings within the protests, the arrests, and whatnot. Do you think the police is being fair?
I think it's unfortunate the way the police is handling it. But if you look at the videos, I am a human rights lawyer. So basically, I agree with the citizens going out there to protest. What are they protesting against? They're fighting for the environment we all depend on, the water we drink, the food we eat, and the life of people. So basically, on the front of human rights, I think it's right. But if you look at the videos, there are some bit of excesses. I can see distractions. I can see people going beyond what they are not supposed to do in a real demonstration scenario. So the police, I think they are not out of place because I think they are trying to make sure that people don't go beyond and destroy and more or less get out of control. What is happening in court is what I really do not agree with, that these are misdemeanors.
Okay.
I mean, so not to grant them bail, it's really unheard of. I mean, this is not the issue of committing crime properly so-called. I mean, we understand what they are out there for. They are protesting. So if they've gone a bit off, a judge should be able to look at the scenario and then. So as to what the court is doing is what I really, because that is where the respite should be.
Yeah.
The court should be the people or the right avenue to say that, all right, the police have stepped beyond, but we can step in and then water down the situation. Then we see the administration of justice moving hand in hand. But if the court comes in like we are following what the police is doing, like we are stamping on and going ahead to say that what the police has done is right, then we go off the remit of human rights.
Okay, so you believe that they being remanded in police and then prison custodies for 2 weeks is a bit harsh?
It's too harsh.
Okay.
2 weeks, what is it for? It's misdemeanor. And in the event that they appear before you finally and you get to find out that there's a justification why they were out there and there wasn't much distraction, or you just have to maybe, sometimes you admonish people and it's part of judicial adjudication. So to remand them for 2 weeks, we are going to feed them. We are if you're not going to feed them, those who have gone to prison properly so-called, we are going to feed them. Those who are in police incarceration or police detention, their families have to now feed them or go to take care of them. I mean, it's uncalled for. A court of law should rather be seen to step in, and when there are excesses, we try to correct it. But
okay, so ideally, what would be that thing that would just bring resolution to this issue going forward? Because I believe that in an election year, we are likely to see more protests coming up.
So what I will advise my colleague youth out there is to stick to the protestation.
Okay.
So go out there, protest. I saw Oliver. In fact, I saw it. He went in there, took a key, and I asked myself, I mean, you're a lawyer. This is uncalled for. Counsel. I mean, you have a reputation in society. So basically, for you to go down to that level was like the other person behaving that way. So if you, Oliver, who's supposed to guide the protesters, these are people who are following your lead. You who is leading is doing this. What do you expect the rest to do? So you see, the SSS is really uncalled for, and I expect them to stay within the remit of the demonstration.
Okay.
Go out there, put your case across, which we all support, and push it. Sometimes we see how protestations are done in other parts of the world. When it's not becoming a bit out of control, you get to see that they achieve results. If they have been out there chanting, presenting their case, staying within the remit of the protestation, voicing out, talking about no more to Galamsey, and sticking to that remit, would have made huge returns. But they really destroyed it when they went overboard and started destroying.
I see. Very interesting. Beyond law, as a politician, tell me your political ideology. What do you believe in?
Thank you very much. I'm an Nkrumahist, and that means that I believe in the philosophical understanding of Kwame Nkrumah. I think you should also begin to look at that direction if you are not having that in mind. What I've seen about our youths, the generation of today, I mean, 20 to 40 years, people have decided basically not to research more about Kwame Nkrumah, and that is keeping the understanding of what he stood for and what he basically wants us as a nation in Africa and the world at large to understand what he brings on board for humanity. We are not getting it because people are not studying what Nkrumahism stands for. And it's basically an ideology that brings about egalitarianism, brings about people, where there's equality, social justice, freedom of the masses, equal distribution of wealth, increased productivity. All these things encapsulate what Kwame Nkrumah stood for. And we can see it clearly in the works that he did. So it's a philosophy that hinges on the masses. So more or less you can say he's a Marxist. Anything that talks about the holistic development of the masses. And if I say the masses, I mean the ordinary people. I mean the greater number of people. And utilitarianism is about the greater majority of the people. If society advances to a cause that benefits the greater majority of the people, then I think there's wisdom in that.
Okay. If you say that you are an Nkrumahist, why did you join the NDC?
That's a very good question. I've always been an Nkrumahist, and I've always understood the principles that Kwame Nkrumah stood for. And people who have known me know that I also ascribe to the Rastafari principle, where Rastafari principle means you try to follow the teachings of the Emperor of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie. And we can now testify that Haile Selassie and Kwame Nkrumah are buddies. You have seen some pictures of Haile Selassie and Kwame Nkrumah. Yes, and the African Union and the African unity we have today, it's Nkrumah and Selassie bringing it to bear. It tells you that the two men have the same philosophical understanding. So somebody who believes in Haile Selassie from day one, when I was growing up, gravitated believing in what Nkrumah did. So it's not because I read about Nkrumah and also got to understand as a Ghanaian what he did for us. The philosophical understanding of what I believe in and what he stood for is the same. So before I even joined the NDC, I'm an Nkrumahist. But the reason why it is like that is that today, a lot of people in the NDC are Nkrumahist. President Mahama, former President Mahama, his father was a minister in Nkrumah's government. Bawumia's, His Excellency the Vice President Bawumia's father was a minister under Nkrumah's government. So you got to see that a lot of people in this country started as Nkrumahs. They believe in the benefit of the masses. His Excellency the President Nana Akufo-Addo himself, once upon a time, was an Nkrumah. In his student days, he did things that stood out that he loved the masses. It's when people grow, then they change ideologies and then drift. But when you're a man of conviction, you stand with their conviction. So going to NDC was basically that the NDC and the CPP share the same philosophical understanding. Basically, socialists. We believe in the masses, doing something for the people by the state. And the reason why I did that in the past was that I thought the CPP was basically also drifting to be part of the NDC. From 2004 thereabout, you could see that everybody who was out there and was espousing Nkrumahism or stood strongly for Kwame Nkrumah's ideology, most of them basically were doing NDC stuff. So I don't know the day in my student days, people who knew me know that I argue Nkrumahism, I argue CPP, but I was not a card-bearing member. So when I met Professor Mills in Takwa as a radio presenter like yourself in those days on Space FM, and we hosted him, that got me to go and pick the NDC card. But before I met Professor Mills in 2004, I was an Nkrumahist, but I have not picked the CPP card.
Okay.
So I drifted based on the ideology that is the same. And Professor Mills was an Nkrumahist. He stood for it. He espoused it, just that he decided to go and work with the NDC. So a lot of people have taken that trajectory. But it's beautiful that I've come back to my consciousness and I've realized that if I want to do politics, if I want to serve my nation, when I sleep, my conscience is not right. Why don't I go back to where I think that I'll serve my people? And that is why I have to come back to the CPP.
So it's not because you were confused?
I was not confused. In 2010, my learned friend Abu Jinapo, today is Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, he took 10 of us to Nanado's house. Right there, Nima police is there. He took us there. After we have met His Excellency the President, 2 weeks later, Abu told me that, Ras, His Excellency wants to see you. I asked, why? We were 10. So no, he wants to see you because when we went, we all spoke and he could see. The man lost young people who love their country. I told Abu point blank that you're a capitalist, I'm a socialist. I can never. My political ideology will never agree with me doing that. I would have gone with Abu. Today I would have been a minister. I didn't do that. And when I decided to resign, I could have gone to the MPP. But I went to CPP, where there is work to be done. It's like moving from where you think life can be easy. If I was in the NDC today, I'll be gravitating to the top. I was speaking in 2012 at the election petition on TV for 8 months. At that time, Sami Jefi and Co were not talking. Edu Jitamaklu and we're not talking.
Right.
So I don't know what it means is that if I wanted to be at where political materialism exists, I would have been in NDC or even gone to the MPP. But I decided to come back to my roots because my conscience is clear that it's only the CPP that can rapidly develop this country.
Okay. And how has it been since you joined the CPP?
It's been fantastic on the journey, but I've met the what I anticipated. I've met the work. There's a lot of work to be done in the CPP. The CPP has the catalyst to develop this country. The CPP has the blueprint. The CPP truly is the political party that can galvanize the youth and move us forward. The work is that we have allowed the political significance of the CPP to deteriorate. So more or less, we have gone down the ladder. And my little observation is boiled down to leadership.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, it is the successive leadership of the CPP that I would say have not put in much to be able to galvanize the successive generation since 1992 to be able to come closer to winning political power.
So is it possible?
It is possible. I'm in there. Anywhere I get to, anybody who knows me in KNUST and anybody who knows me anywhere in the world knows that anytime I touch base, and it's not a matter of, the Bible says, man, know thyself. That's the good book says. So I know myself. I know as you sit down there, is it Tutua?
Yes, Tutua.
You know yourself. And I know my brother, you're producing. So when you begin to know yourself, you have the trust that you have been brought onto the planet Earth for a purpose. It's possible when like minds like me begin to understand that the CPP has the catalyst to move this country forward. So we are regrouping. We are putting our arsenals together. And our leader today, Nana Frimpong Sapon Kumankuma, is a firebrand lady. She's a lady who also push when she wants to push. And people have started hearing her and are seeing that this woman can bring something to the CPP's table. So the question that is it possible? I know it's possible. Every journey must begin. I will not sit here and say that it's instant.
Okay.
I will not sit here and also say that it's too far away. But even if it's going to be a decade, I want to assure you, and I want to assure Ghanaians listening to me that those who are ahead of us, I'm 49 years old. I'm not too far away from the youth. I'm not also with the old guys. I'm in between. So even if it's going to take us a decade, add a decade to my year, it means that we can still bring the CPP to the fore. But by that time, people like Nana Frimpong, who are a bit our senior comrades, who have played their role and we have moved forward. So it's possible. We are not in a haste, but it's possible. It's just a signal to the youth of this country that Wayoe Ghanamannti, people know me as Ras Wayoe. I've stepped in. And when I step in, revolution is beginning. We are not rushing, but we'll get there.
Ras Wayoe, you say that your journey in the CPP has been fantastic. Why did Frimpong Kumankuma ask for you to be interdicted? What happened?
She's never asked for me to be...
In there just by elections?
Oh, okay, good. What happened was that at that time, we were trying to settle the impasse we had in our party. Because at that time, we have gone to a neck in December 2023 and removed our leadership. So if your memory is clear, you see that our former General Secretary, Nanaya Jantwa, and a host of them, they were told to step aside. But Frimpong decided not to step aside because she disagreed with the process. So she hung in there, and there was some series of court action to get her to step aside. And in the midst of that, our elders, His Highness Professor Nadele, the Paramount Chief of Nandom, and some elders, our mother Fati Dagati, and a host of our senior comrades, our Council of Elders, began a reconciliation process to be able to settle the impasse. In the midst of settling the impasse, a judicial by-election came up. Then our chair leader, who we thought we have told to step aside with all the other leaders, decided to put up a candidate. And the judicial chairman, Emmanuel Gallo, felt that she's not using the right procedure because she single-handedly cannot present a parliamentary candidate on behalf of the party. It must be the party in the region, because he's the regional chairman, as well as the other stakeholders to agree and decide. And Gallo decided that if our lady will want to go ahead, then he has to bring a legal action to make sure that he stops her. And I'm a member of the Legal and Constitutional Affairs Committee of the party. So I rise to the party side until it is a justification that let's listen to the other member of the party. So when I represented Gallo, I think she also decided to make some counter statements. But it was not a desire to have me interdicted. She didn't have the singular order to interdict me.
But she has suggested that, hasn't she?
You are not bringing it to my notice because that means I was not following events because I never heard that expressly that she's calling for that. But if that is what happened, like I'm saying, it could be a suggestion, but
it never happened. So what is your relationship with her now?
I'm her running mate. It tells you that in the CPP we can disagree, but when it comes to understanding that Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah is our foundation, is the basis upon which we are riding towards political power, then what it means is that we close our ranks and keep moving forward. And she also understands that I have what it takes to complement her candidature and then give the CPP a good showing. Yes.
I see. One of the issues that have dominated the media space lately is about illegal mining. We've heard the two political parties talk about their plans for mining if they are voted for. What is the CPP's plan for that? Would you ascribe to banning mining outrightly?
Thank you very much. It's a good question. And to premise my answer to that, I'll respectfully use your famous medium to call for the vice presidential debate. I don't know whether it's time.
You're calling for a debate?
Yes, the vice presidential debate, before I answer that question, because now you are moving into policies. So I don't know whether it's TIFF who's going to organize it. I don't know whether it's CDD. I don't know whether it's...
We can actually take up that challenge.
I don't know whether it is the IEA or whatever it is. But the point is that I sit on your famous platform and call for the vice presidential debate. Let NAPO show up. Let the good old professor show up. Let all other running mates out there show up, and let's begin to discuss the issues. Then Ghanaians will know what the CPP brings. Now back to your question. We are basically going to do away with it. That is what they have said.
You are banning mining.
We are going to do away with it.
Scale.
We are not. No. Galamsey.
Okay.
We are going. My leader says we are going to do away with it. And as a lawyer, my interpretation to that is that we are going to repeal or abrogate it. So I will answer by saying that when the CPP gets the chance to lead this country, Galamsey will not exist anymore. Okay. We are going to repeal that law. The two of them, MPP and DC, all what they are putting out there is trying to refine it. They are going to regulate it, but we are not going to go the line of any regulation. We are going to halt it. So at the end of the day, nobody's going to get any small-scale mining license. If you don't have a license for small-scale mining, you can't go onto River Ankobra and go and do anything. You can't go into that A12 and go and do anything because we'll arrest you. Now, what is going to happen is that the Ghanaba shares that Her Excellency Nana Frimpomaa is talking about will let Ghanaians own shares in our varied resources. So instead of getting 5 people who have the money to buy the champagnes and the rest, because don't let us forget that the Galamsey is not the hungry youth. It is those who have bought the champagnes, those who have the money. And they are few. We are a nation of about 33 million people. These are about 50 or 60 or 100 people who have the muscle to bring the finances together and do this. If we're able to stop those people and let them understand that we are not granting you any license. I hear that Gabi Ochredako, my learned friend, some time ago when he came, so my clients have a license. I'm telling Gabi on Star FM that your client will not have any license. So we'll see how your client can go into that forest. I also know that Chema to me says he has a license. He will not have any license, so he has to justify why he has to be there. Now, we put these people together, move them from small scale to medium scale.
Okay.
In that vein, you are going to give them concessions that will be regulated, because that concession will be bigger. It will not be that small portion on River Pra or River Ankobra or River Densu. It will not be that small portion in the Etua forest. Now you're going to get a bigger concession because you have about 10 people who have put your resources together. So let Chema to me and Gabi's clients and those other people who are also from the NDC who are also, let them put their arsenals together. Then we move them from small scale mining to immediate. When we do that, we are not going to not damage the forest. We are not going to damage that river because your concession is bigger. But for Galamsey, under a CPP government, on Star FM today, I'm saying that we will finish it. We'll stop it. It's not like a ban. We stop it.
Okay.
Nobody's licensing you to go there.
That's okay. That's just one section of the policies that I believe the CPP has for the Ghanaian people. But in wrapping up, tell Ghanaians why they should vote for the CPP. Why is CPP an option to even consider?
I was watching some of the feed today, and I think one of your elders, Nanaba, she made something. I don't know if it's true that he said punish MPP and DC. I don't know if it is a fake.
It's an old video.
It's an old video. Oh, okay, yeah. So I saw it today. You know how politics now. Somebody have brought it back. Punish NBC, punish MPP, and so punish MPP, punish NDC simply means that CPP must come to the fore. So that gives us the edge to say that CPP to the podium. CPP to the podium simply means that when we go for a competition, Olympic Games, 3 people will be on the podium, first, second, third. So for us, wherever we are going to be, we don't really care, but we want to be on the podium to tell Ghanaians that we are ready to govern this country.
Okay. But how possible would that be for you, especially because you don't have all the 275 members of parliament, candidates, presidential, parliamentary candidates, I beg your pardon?
Thank you very much, my dear lady. It is true we don't have, but governance is not basically about parliament. We are looking at the executive arm of government because that is where governing the country really lies. Parliament makes the law. We are simply saying that we have the blueprint. The 7-year development plan that Nkrumah unveiled in our parliament, 1963, 64, 79, 70 fiscal year, gives us the blueprint. So everything is there. For instance, look at State Fishing Corporation. So the argument about Galamsey, oh, I heard the chief say that when you ban it, the youth will not get a job. I'm telling that chief that, Nana, when we stop it, those youths, they will find themselves working on the Ghanaian trawlers because the State Fishing Corporation will be bouncing back and not allow Chinese to bring trawlers and then fish from our own waters and come and sell it to us at exorbitant prices. We are going to have trawlers. So there will be job for the youth who are out there. Our state farms, where there will be a lot of state farms, there will be youths moving into state farms. We will embark on serious infrastructure project. So, for example, when we are building roads, we need more youths on the building of the roads. We need more youths on the rail lines. So CPP has the blueprint. We have already made it clear that we can govern this country. There's this particular policy that we are yet to unroll. But let me just give you a tip of it, because you go far.
In about 20 seconds.
In about 20 seconds. That the CPP government will not incarcerate any citizen for misdemeanor. So like what is happening today.
Are you saying this on the back of the protest?
No, yes, the protest fits in.
Okay.
But because I'm a lawyer, and because I have the ambition already that this country must move forward, and that we must use our people for a purpose, we are not incarcerating people for misdemeanors. We will rather give them community services or let them work on the state farms.
Okay.
The other one, which is critical, we are also not going to incarcerate people for one roll of cannabis that you think you have arrested a citizen on this country and then you are going to incarcerate that person for 10 years. You take a 30-year-old citizen, and some of these people, when you go to court, these are university graduates. So I don't know for whatever reason.
Wait.
Yes, I will explain.
You're not going to incarcerate people for
the arrest of one cannabis
for
in
the possession of cannabis.
Yes, and the reason is this: that 30-year-old citizen, if you incarcerate him or her for 10 years, that is 40 years he's going to return. You have taken 10 years of that youthful energy, and you see, these people can work on the state farms. So what we are saying is that to go and dump them there, and then congest our prisons inhumanely, and then use state resources to feed them, a CPP government revert the sentencing. So it's not about the law. I'm not talking about abolishing law. I'm talking about sentencing, the sentencing regime.
Okay.
Sentencing them to incarceration.
Council, is this an agenda to push for the legalization of weed smoking?
That is not an agenda. I've just told you about sentencing. I'm not talking about the law.
Okay.
The law about...
But I mean, if CPP gets the opportunity to rule, would you push for weed to be legalized?
Weed to be legalized, that would be the nation's decision. What did President Akufo-Addo say? He said LGBT.
If you get the chance to rule, that's what I'm asking. If the CPP gets the chance to rule.
No, we have not gotten there yet. But you see, today in Parliament.
You said it's possible.
No, today in Parliament, they have passed the law for industrial and then what? Medicinal purposes. I didn't pass it. MPP government passed it. Akufo-Addo passed it. Babin passed it. Babin is NDC man. Akufo-Addo is MPP man. So NDC, MPP, they have passed it. So it's not about CPP. But don't let us overstretch it. What I'm trying to let the citizens know that we will not incarcerate any Ghanaian youth. And I'm giving the justification. If we arrest a 25-year-old chap, we dump him for 10 years, he returns in 35 years. We have wasted 10 years of that. And me, if I'm a leader of this country, I'll not waste 10 years of my citizens who are youthful. We need those youthful energy as manpower. China is producing because they have people. Instead of going to incarcerate them, put them on the state farms, put them on the rails, because if you have more of them, we'll build more rail lines. You have more of them, we'll build more infrastructure. This is how to evolve the country.
Okay. To be fair to you, I'm just going to give you about 30 seconds to tell Ghanaians again why CPP should be voted for come December 7th.
One of it is what I've just told you, that to decongest our prisons, to reduce the over expenses on prison services. Because we spend a lot of money there. 10 years we are keeping the youth who just finished. Because don't let us think that those who we catch with the cannabis are the boys at the trotro station. I'm a lawyer. We see university graduates who have been brought there. He just finished Lagos, just finished Tech, just finished UCC. After all this knowledge, you go and dump him and waste 10 years of the person's life. It's waste of time. The Chinese are using the manpower. That is why China has overtaken everybody. So instead of incarcerating our manpower, our human resources, let's revamp the sentencing.
Absolutely.
Those who have problem with the smoking, if you have to rehabilitate them, we rehabilitate them.
Okay.
But those who don't have any problem, they go to the state farms. They go to the roads and help the road construction.
Okay.
They go to the rail site and help building the
Okay.
rails.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I've been engaging the vice presidential candidate of the CPP, lawyer Wayoe Ghanamannti. This has been the campaign trail.
Thank you.